Hey, welcome everyone. In this video we are going to talk about doing an Appium setup, and using Appium we will be testing our first Android app. So this is basically Appium and Android. That's what we are going to talk about. So first thing that we need to do in order to set up Appium on our machine is we should be downloading and installing JDK. Now sometimes it happens like we already have Java installed on our PC. So if you already have a Java installed, you don't need to do the step one again. The easy way to validate whether Java is installed or not, we can go to program files, Java, and there we can see there are JDK and JRE folders. So since I already have those folders, that means I have JDK installed. So let me go to JDK, and this is the path to my JDK folder. Now once we install JDK, second thing we should set is we should set this environment variable java_home to point to JDK folder. So let's go here and we do right click and we go to properties of that, and let's do advanced settings, and let's go ahead and set up that environment variable and call it java_home, and this is the path. So, okay, so we are done with first two steps. So we have installed JDK and we have set the Java home. Now next thing is we should download and install Android SDK. So let me do that. So we go here and we say download Android SDK. So let's click this link, and here we can see this is a download link to Android Studio, but we are interested only in SDK right now. So let's go to Android SDK and we go with standalone SDK tools. Since we are looking only for testing, so only SDK tools should suffice. So when we come here, it says this does not include complete Android development environment, which we are not interested anyways. We are not talking about doing Android development. Okay, so we should go to this link, and this link will take us to SDK tools. Since I am on Windows, I'll go ahead and install this SDK tools. So let's accept the license agreement. Let's go here and the download will begin. Now this is a 145 MB installer, so it will take some time for it to download. Till then, let's proceed with next set of steps. Now once it is downloaded, we have to set another environment variable, which is Android_home. So we can go here, we can go to environment variables, and here we will say Android_home, and here we'll paste the directory path where basically in Android SDK will be installed. Fine. After that, we should download and install Node.js. So let's do that in parallel. So we say download Node.js. So this will take us to Node.js site. Let's go with, my machine is actually 64-bit, so I'll go with 64-bit installer, and we can see the Node installer is being downloaded, and that will be quicker than Android SDK because this is just a 10 MB download. Now once this download completes, we'll first install Node.js, because order here really doesn't matter. So we can install Node.js first, and we start installation. So Node.js has been installed for us. Now next step is to install .NET framework. I already have .NET installed, so not required. Next is we should download latest version of Appium. So let's go and install that. Let's download that. We say download Appium and we proceed. So we go to this site Appium. Here we see there are two things. One is Appium client libraries, which are required when we start writing our test automation, and second is Appium desktop apps. So Appium desktop as is actually Appium server, and we will need that. So let me download this. Now when we come here, we will see what is the latest version of Appium available. So here we can see Appium for Windows, it's 1.4.16, so this is the latest release. Before that there was 1.4.13.1. So let's go with with this version. Click this, so it will start downloading Appium. So Appium is also kind of 50 MB installer, so it will take some time for this also to download. And once we install that, we have to download and install Eclipse, and in my case I already have Eclipse, so that is also not required again. So let me remove this step for now. So it was actually install Android tools for Eclipse, because in Eclipse if we want to do Android development we should install that, but this mostly will not be required in our case, so let me get rid of that. So this is Eclipse, it has launched, and we can see if Appium download is completed or Android SDK is completed. They are still getting downloaded. So once this download completes, we will be in a position to move forward. So we can see our Android SDK has been downloaded, so let's go ahead and install that. So it has detected there is a JDK installed. Install for anyone using this computer, that's the option I will pick, so that any other user on this PC can use Android SDK. So let's cut and take this path, because this path we have to set in Android home. So let me paste it here. So this is all set, and now we proceed with the installation. So this way basically we have taken care of these two steps together. We are downloading and installing, and we have also set the environment variable. Now while this is this is installing, let's look at the status of download of Appium. Okay, so this will take some time to get installed, and we can see installation has completed. Let's go next, and let's start our SDK manager. And we see the Android SDK manager has started. Now basically whenever it starts, it asks us to download certain files. So here it has ticked platform tools, build tools. Let's uncheck this for the time being. Support library, USB driver, and we'll also install one emulator, Hexam installer. And okay, if we have to go here, what essentially we will install is, we'll install one Atom x64 image. I think that should be good enough for us. So let's do the installation, so that in parallel this install also proceeds. So we have to accept their license agreements, because all these are different tools. So let's accept this, and we start installing. So that way this install will begin. Now in the meanwhile we can see our Appium is also downloaded. So let's go and extract Appium. This is the folder where it is going. Let me open the folder in browser, and let's start installing Appium. Let's say okay, next. So we are accepting all the defaults. And it will take some time for Appium to get installed. Okay, so with that Appium is installed, let's launch Appium. And basically Appium is all set. This is how we can start Appium node server. This is Android related settings, this is general settings, this is developer settings. So all that we will touch base upon later, since right now we are just talking about installing Appium, and that's it. So Appium is done, we have installed Appium. Then Android SDK we are setting up, we are downloading some tools. So basically these tools will help us connect our create our Android virtual device emulator, so that we can play around with that, we can do some automation in that emulator image. So it will take some time to download this stuff and set up the first image. Another thing is that we should be aware of is we should go to now Android underscore home directory, because we had set the path. So we reach there, we do start dot. Here two things are important, one is AVD manager and second is SDK manager. So SDK manager is the one that is running here. AVD manager is typically used to create an virtual device, an Android AVD, Android virtual device. So what I can do is I can go here and I can say create, and let's say we create one Android 1. So we can pick the device type. So let's pick Nexus 9. What is our target? Since we have downloaded the image of 6.0, this is the image Android 6.0, that's why we are seeing only one option. If we install 5.1, 5.0 images also, then we see those options as well here. Then skin and all rest everything we are leaving blank. Here it's asking for some size, so let's give it 200 MB. It says no CPU system images available for this target. Okay, so it's not able to detect the image. Let's change it to some other Nexus 1. Okay, it's not giving us a choice. Reason behind that is it's now downloading that image. Once the image is downloaded, we will be able to create an AVD with that particular image. So we'll wait for this download to complete so that we can create one virtual device. And once that is done, then we will begin our next course of action. Now while this is still continuing, there are two more steps that we skipped doing. So we should add to path. Two things we have to add to path, which is Android home and inside that Android home there are two folders. One is this tools folder, which we should be adding to the path, and second is basically one more folder called platform tools. These two folders should be added to the path. So this is tools, and if I copy this and we paste it here, and this will become platform tools. So let's complete this missing step as well. So we begin copying this path, Control C. Let's go there. Let's right click, go to properties, go here, let's enter environment variables, go to path, and we change the edit setting. In the end, we come here and we paste, this is first path, and platform tools as second path, platform hyphen tools. So this all also will be needed by our Appium execution. Okay, so that's done. It's still 52%, will take some more time to download. So we'll resume once the download completes. Okay, so while this is still going on, let's do one thing. In parallel, we can utilize the time. Let's create our Appium test automation projects. So let's say Appium in automation. and this is our first project that we are creating. So we have done creation of the project, and now in order to use Appium, we need to download Appium client. Download Appium jar. So if we go to download of Appium again, you remember there were client libraries and there was desktop app. So desktop app we have already downloaded. Now we need this client library. So when we go there, it takes us to Maven site, and in Maven site there are multiple downloads available, POM, this. So we'll go with the jar download. So let's click that, and that way we will get Java client for Appium. And same way we need to download Selenium libraries also. Selenium download. These two things are needed for doing Appium automation. So here also we go and download these Java libraries, and this also has started to download. Now once this will download, what we will do is we'll go and add a reference to those binaries in our project. So I can do build path, and I can say configure build path, and let's go under libraries, and in libraries what we will do is we'll add a library. So let's create a user library, and we go ahead, and I'm going to add a new library. So let's create a new library called Appium, so that once I add all jar files here, I don't have to do that task again and again. So this Java client is kind of my Appium that I downloaded. So that is one. And second thing that we can do is we can add more libraries here. You can say add external jars, and this time we need to install the Selenium jars. So let me first extract them. So extract to this folder, and once the extraction completes, we will go and these two jars we will add, and we go to Appium once again, and we add other jar files into here. So we select all of them, we say open, say okay. So this way all the jars are added to this library. So next time it will be very easy for me to add Appium to any new project. All we have to do is I can go to add library, I can select user library, and Appium is already available because I just created that, and we say okay. So this project is all set, we are ready, and this is where we can start writing our automation. So let me write first file here, right click, and I say class, let's say first Appium test. Now this is where we can start writing our automation code. So initially I'll go with main. I did main and control space. So Eclipse is taking some time, and it will give us code recommenders, and if I do control space once again, now we can see it completed main, and that's where we are. So here we will start writing our code once we are all set with the setup. Okay, as we can see, this has completed installation of SDK tools. So let me say close. Let's close this SDK manager. Now we go to our ADV manager, and we create our first Android one. We go to a device, so we can pick Nexus 9, or let's go with fine, Nexus 9 should be good, or let's pick Nexus 7. Yeah. So let's go to target, we pick this target, and this time we will notice, oh, now also it says there is no system image installed. So let's close it once and start the AVD manager once again, because this time it should detect there is that image available. And one more thing is we can go to, basically ultimately we have to install that Intel AXM as well. So if we go to platform tools, let's see if Intel is there. So let me search here Intel, and that is found under extras. Okay, so we go to extras, we go to Hexam, and this is something that we need to install, because this is useful when we are creating the image or AVD. Intel Hexam is required typically for Intel images. Okay, so installation is done. Let's go back and let's start where we left. So here we were, so let's start AVD manager once again, and it has launched here. So let's go and create one AVD and call it Android 1. Let's go ahead and change it to Nexus 6. Okay, this time we can see it picked the CPU. Most likely it needed that hexam to be installed so that it can recognize Intel images. Now here we go, and size we set it to 200, and it wants us to select a skin, so we can go with this skin. So let's go ahead, and so AVD is created, and now this AVD we want to start, so I can go ahead and I can say start it. We say launch, and now we'll have to wait for a few seconds, because first time when we launch our emulator we have to wait for this to be up and running fully. So you'll see in a short while that Android device will come up and we will see the operating system being loaded. So Android is starting now. Let me close this, and later on we can change the skin. Right now the skin is with these dynamic controls. Later on we can go here in edit, and we can ideally go and change skins to multiple other available skins. The one which is more suitable, we can pick that one. Or let me see if now itself we can change it. We see HVGA, say OK. Now this device is still running, so I think at runtime the skin won't change, but since we have saved that change setting, next time we launch this device the skin will change. So let's wait for some more time, because it is running for the first time, so it is doing some setup, and once that setup is completed it will show us the Android home screen. And once this device is set up, basically what we will do is through Appium server we will try to connect to this device and we will perform our automation here. So let's wait for this device to be fully loaded so that we can start writing our automation. And we can see our emulator has started. So let's say got it. Okay, so this is our Android setup. So let's close this emulator once, and if we have to launch it again we need to go to our Android home directory, and we can do start dot here. Let's go to AVD manager, and this time we'll change the skin and we'll launch the emulator again, and this time we will notice the launch will not be that slow. Okay, rather than changing it to HVGA, let me go it with no skin option. So we don't want any skin. We say OK. So this has saved the settings. Now let's click this image and we say start. So this is starting again, and this time it will be a lot quicker than the time it took for the first time, because now this AVD is all set. So it should take boot time equivalent to like typically our phone boots. And as we can see, our emulator is all set and it's up and running. Okay, so once this OS has started, I started Appium also. Now we can see Appium has detected there is a Android phone running here, emulator running. That's why we see the Android logo here, and we can see it has figured out that this is platform Android, platform version is 23, and automation name is Appium. So now let's try to write some code here in order to connect to that. So first thing we need to do is we need to create a desired capabilities object, DC new desired capabilities, and once we create that object we'll see dc.set capability, and in set capability we will tell what capability are we looking for. So the first thing that we will do here is we will set the capability browser name, and that is where we will say it is Android. And next thing that we will do is we'll give the version dc.set capability, and there we will say the version that we are looking for is, here our version was, or let me do one thing, let's go with dc.set capability, and let's see if there is a mobile browser type, mobile capability type. Yeah, we can go with that. We can say platform name, and here we will say platform.android. So we set the platform here, and next thing what we can do is you can say dc.set capability. Same way we can say mobile capability type dot. So one thing we have to do is we have to give app activity and app package here if we want to install or if we want to launch the calculator. So we give app package, and the app package that we want to run, we will call that as com.android.calculator 2. This is what the package is. Later on we will see where I am getting these values from. So let me go and do shift home, we copy this line and we paste it again, and this time we want to specify as app activity. So app activity that we want to connect to is called com.android.calculator2.calculator. that is the activity name. So once we write these lines, after that what typically we will do is we will say driver equals new. So we should declare a web driver here. We'll say web driver equals new remote web driver, and there we will give a URL. So new URL, and URL will throw an exception, so we'll have to add something here. And second thing after we give the URL we have to give is our capability object, which is DC. So once we do this, what should happen is our browser should get connected, our automation should get connected to the browser or to the emulator, and here simple thing that we will do is we'll say driver.toString, just to be sure like we are connected properly and it's working all fine. Now if we go here, then we will see this is running on an address this, and the port number is 4723. So this is something that we have to specify as our remote server. So I'm copying this, I'll go here and in URL we'll put HTTP, this we paste here, and we call WD, we call it hub. That's how we should connect to it. So let's try to run our automation and see how it goes. So it has failed here, a new session could not be created. There is some error here. Okay, so it says we have to give a device name. Without the device name it is not going to work. So let's go ahead and give a device name, dc.set capability, and we say mobile capability type dot device name, and device name I think it is and1 for us. So let's go ahead and give it a run once again. So we say run as Java application. So okay, it's trying to start something, and we can see that we have connected to our Android device and we are able to successfully launch our calculator app. So this way we have seen how do we write an automation, connect to a device, and on that device we are launching one particular application. Now once we have launched that application, what we can do is we can perform some operations also, like if we want to do 4 plus 6 equals, all these operations if we want to perform, there is a thing that we can do, and in the end we should also do driver.quit so that we can close that application and we can quit. So let's do that here. So what we will do is we will say driver.find element in order to perform the clicks by dot name. Actually all the buttons that we are seeing on calculator, they have the name equivalent to the number written on them. So we say 4 dot click. Let me copy this line. So first we are clicking 4, then we will click 6, and after that, okay, after 4 we will click plus, then we will click 6, and after that we will click equals. So let's do that. Once 4 is clicked, plus 6, plus, after that equals, and after this we should see the result. So let's right click, say run as Java application, and let's go okay. Let's look at the device. So we can see the calculator is launching, 4 is pressed, then plus is pressed, then 6, and equal, now equal is pressed, and we can see the result is 10. After that we do driver.quit. So basically this will disconnect from the mobile, and we will see the app that we launched, it is gone. So this is our first automation that we have seen working fine. In next set of video tutorials we will see basically how do we write verification step also. Basically after we click the equal to button, then we should get the number that is appearing on the resultant window of calculator, and we should validate that is 10. Well, so that was all about how to set up the Appium and Android Studio or Android SDK on our machine, and how to write our first automation in Appium. So thanks for watching. We'll see you in next set of videos.